Peace, everyone. Peace, everyone. It's your boy, it's your man, Emil Burgess, aka the Spiritual Chef, aka united uniquely with all the light bearers of this planet called Earth. Cooking up progress through a process that leads to results. Ooh, sigh. Inhale that life force for that internal cooking. How we doing out there in the ethers, huh? It's a beautiful day in Zamunda. Yes, it is. So I wanted to give y'all a throwback story for the day. Today is Thursday. And I want to start off with talking about spirituality and miracles. You know, in life, spiritual growth happens most of the time when struggle occurs. And we always, I know in my early on in my younger years in my spiritual growth that I used to always ask God, why? Why? And then I would get the notion, why not you? But I would have this why notion, why is this going on with me? Why is this happening to me? Woe is me. And then the more spiritual mentors that I had in my life, the more I start to understand and realize and get these information that you chose this life. This is a harsh reality that most people, when they hear it, they piss it off. Nah, this can't be right. I wouldn't do that. Why would I do that? Because we forget that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and that we signed on for these certain contracts to happen in our lives because we want to grow spiritually to higher planes of existence, but we wanted to have a jolt of spiritual education because this world of duality is so strong in both polarities. And for most people, this is like a prison planet, that to have a spiritual education in a human body, you get a rapid, I don't say rapid results, but you get rapid growth through these trials and tribulations that we go through on this planet, because it's very, very strong and heavily in dark energy because of a myriad of things that I won't go into in this video. But spiritual growth is definitely important, and we have to understand that there are everyday miracles that happen to us that if we're not spiritually adapt to, we let it blow over our shoulders, and sometimes we miss the kernels of growth that we need to go on, and we repeat some of the cycles because we're not paying attention. And so there was a time in my life where I was having some hard times. I was living in the Bronx with my son. I was a single father for a very long time. And I was going to school. I was going to St. John's University. And I was doing security work, bouncing overnight. Excuse me. And I was raising my son. And I was going through issues. I had family, but we know how family dynamics are sometimes, and we all play a part in an issue with things that can go right in our life and can go wrong in our life. So I can't blame everything on my family members, but I was going through a rough time, and his mom wasn't in his life the way I needed her to be, for her to be a person I can go to for help, as far as him going over there and being with her while I was going to school and work. So I had to come to a decision whether or not I wanted to finish college or work. And at the time, I had just had a stint of being homeless, and me and my son being in a shelter, and I didn't want that again for my son. So I decided to drop out of school, which later on being one of my big regrets, because it was an opportunity for me to excel on a educational standpoint to put me in a certain, I guess, bracket or cult, if you will, because that's another story for another day. But anyways, um, and so I dropped out of school to work and stuff like that. And, for a little bit it was going well, but it stopped going well. Security work was drying and me not prioritizing how I spend my money was affecting me. And so I came to a point where I was going to lose my apartment. I was going through some struggles. And so I had met a girl through the Facebook, and and so we was getting to know each other. And she happened to live in Virginia, and she was showing me things that my son mom was showing me, being down for me, being there and stuff like that, doing things for me that she didn't have to do in her position, but she was. And so she, she wanted me to come visit her, and so I visited her down in Virginia. I was able to have my son stay with my family, for that moment and a couple of days. And so I went down to Virginia, and then, we did adult things, and I saw the environment and the peacefulness and stuff like that. So I decided that I was going to maybe move down there, get my own place, stay with her for a little bit, but get my own place. That was the key, to get my own place, but to move down there and so forth. So I was psyched. I told my son, like, listen, man, listen, we went through a situation with his mom's, and he was very, very disappointed on how he was being treated by her, and he was young too. It's like he was like maybe 6 years old, and so six going to 7. And so, I decided that, what, we're gonna move. I'm not getting the support we need from your moms, from everybody. We're gonna move down south. And so he was with it. He was like, you know what, something different. He was with it. And so I had started to sell off stuff and give stuff away for people that, I knew, friends, family, whatever. And the story getting interesting. So I had this like beautiful brown leather. It was leather and mesh type material, if you will. Kind of like had that 80s feel, but had that real genuine artist feel. Like it was a real beautiful love seat and sofa. So I had put it on, I believe it was Craigslist, and somebody had hit me for it, and I was like, okay. It was in the Bronx. I was in the Bronx, so I decided that I was going to, sell it to him. I think it was like, I was going to sell it to him for like $400, $500, something like that, around that time, around that area. And so at the time, I'm not a mover. I did some moving job back in the day, and so I had a little experience, but I really wasn't one of the expert movers. So my cousin's baby father, he helped me get the stuff out the house, which was a feat in itself, because this was some big furniture. You had to take the pieces apart. It was just a lot of work to be done. Plus, the way I was on the 4th floor, there was no elevator. It was a lot of work that took into me having to get this out of the house and out the building. So we end up, took us a while. We got it out the house. We got it out the building. We got it on the U-Haul truck. So we're off to take the furniture to the location. So as we get to the location, I am getting the one. We got the sofa the sofa upstairs. Not the sofa, the love seat. Excuse me, the love seat. So we get the love seat upstairs, and then we go for the sofa, but the sofa wouldn't fit in the elevator. So as we go upstairs and we tell them, like, listen, we got the love seat upstairs, but we don't have the sofa. We can't get the sofa upstairs in the elevator. We can't get it upstairs through the stairwell, because it's the way it was just made. It was like up on like the 9th or 11th floor or something like that. So I didn't notice it at first, but when I went into the apartment, sidebar. So through my spiritual growth, I've always looked in many different places for the spirit of the creator and the higher purpose of life. And beforehand, before this situation had occurred, I started to read upon the gods and goddesses of the world. And Sri Mahalakshmi was somebody that I had really took a liking to, if you will. And so fast forward to the situation. Now, these people that I was selling you this furniture to, they were Spanish. It was Puerto Rican, and I grew up around Puerto Ricans and Dominicans all my life. My second, quote unquote, grandma abuela was Puerto Rican, and well, she was my third really, but and so I knew them for being Catholic, for being Christian. I never knew them for being just Puerto Ricans to be spiritual people and stuff like that outside of that religion. Just never seen it before. Rosary beads and all that other stuff. So I went to the apartment and I'm talking to them about it. And as I looked to my right on the wall, there was a picture of Sri Mahalakshmi on the wall. And I just noticed like something is different about the situation. Then I seen another picture. I think I seen another picture of her inside their living room. And so I tell him what happened. And so the wife goes to talk to the husband. And you can hear him talking and going back and forth and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, I just, hope they, they accept it. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she said, you know what? We're going to pay for both of them. We're going to give you the money for both couches, even though I didn't get the sofa upstairs, got the love seat upstairs. We're gonna pay you for both. And so they paid me for both, and I was just so elated that I was able to get the money to be able to go down south and start over and start anew and start fresh. And so I let my cousin's baby father know what happened, and he was like, "Wow, man, that's crazy." And so, we end up leaving the sofa outside and in front of the building, and I end up going. And it's weird but true, but that was the beginning of my real independent spiritual journey. I mean, I've had different bouts of my spirituality because, it goes far and wide, but it was a marked a point in my life where independence, a separation from my family and friends and all that I knew, and I was going off to be somebody that would start a new life, and I ended up becoming a public speaker, if you will. I started making my videos. If you remember me back in 2015, making my videos, my spiritual growth, me as a father, me as a person, I grew so much in them 4 or 5 years that I spent down there in Virginia. And I owe that all to the miracles of my spiritual mother, of my wanting to expand my spiritual growth and to wanting to become a better person. And it led me to where I'm at today, to where, if you know me on Facebook, you see me on Facebook, you've seen my altar and my growth through my altar and just the myriad of different things that have been blessings in my life. As you can see, I hold the Eye of Ross and Osiris and Lord Toph, and it's the spiritual things that happen to me. So sometimes we have to be able to pay attention. If I wasn't able to see, maybe if I didn't recognize that it was Sri Mahalakshmi on the wall, or her presence was in the house, I wouldn't have got that gift, because I wouldn't have been, my acuteness wouldn't have been which way it's supposed to be, and it just would have just flew over my head. But I believe that because I was able to recognize and realize the miracle that was happening before my eyes, I was ready to take that next step of spiritual growth and blossom as a person, as a man, as a father, as a family man. Because, when I got down to Virginia, I was living with the girl at the time, and she had 4 kids of her own. So that was my first time living in a home, raising a family for the short period of time that I was there, and getting that type of spiritual and family education that I got from that situation. So it was a lot of growth that happened for me in that moment, in the moments thereafter. And I owe that all to being able to see when the miracles are happening right in front of me. So sometimes we're going through things in life and we think, oh man, why I'm going through this? You're going through this because this is what you sign up for. And it's up to you to be open-hearted enough to see the signs that are in front of you, the miracles that are in front of you, to let you know you're on the right path. So I say this to say that keep your eyes and your heart open, your mind and your spirit open to the higher forces that are around you at every moment in your life. Peace and blessings to you all in bright moments.